can tell. Hello everyone, it is Teresa from Teresa's Silhouette Spot for all things art, where I love sharing art from my heart. Welcome, welcome. It is Thursday. It is Thursday. It's a cold one today, and I had to stop for gas. So you guys may know at this point how much I hate stopping for gas, let alone when it's freezing cold out. And silly me didn't have a coat. I did have a bulky sweater, but that wasn't enough. Anyway, so hi. I'm finishing my project from the other night. Remember we started this? I showed you the faux wood and put in our bottle with our flower stems to start with. This is a take on this one that I showed you, which was also faux wood. You can go back and look at that video. And we did that design by loading using this sponge, painter sponge, and I loaded cafe latte, white, and burnt umber onto this sponge and used a straight pull down vertical technique to make the wood grain on this design that I'm working on. So now I'm going to add the flowers. So before that, I want to remind you guys, next Thursday is this free class in the group, Teresa's Silhouette Spot for free art. There's 2 different size tracers in there and a supply list. So if you want to paint that with me next Thursday at 7:30, we'll be doing that. I'm going to do mine on a 9x12. Similar to this. I like using this bristle board. I've said that before. When you come on, say hey, and I will say hey back if I see you. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and I will come back and answer, respond, and figure out what's going on, okay? So let me see about changing my camera angle. Good. So here we are. Here, I'll put this away because this. So here we go. So I have already gotten out all my paint. I have cobalt, aqua, wicker white, thicket, pink melon, one of my faves, magenta, another fave. And I'm going to get started on a few of the flower center. Not the flower, wait, I'm going to do the background for the flower centers first, and then we'll get started on the flowers. So I'm just picking up a little bit of the dark green. And we kind of just want to fill in this area. So when we add our flowers and our leaves, there's no empty spaces in the background. This will all have something behind it, whether it's a leaf or just this dark part in the back. So there's no empty spaces or voids in the background of our wood showing through this design. So that for that. Now, using my 3/4, I'm going to get it a little wet, dip in here. Hello, Carrie. Hi, Marilyn. It's nice to see you guys. I am double loading some magenta and this pink melon on this big brush. Okay? And this is just the base, background, first layer of our flowers. I'm going to put them up here. It's okay that I'm picking up a little bit of the green. I don't mind. I have one right down here. And then another little one over here. Okay? And I said this is just the base, and we're going to start building on this first layer with our petals. But I'm going to switch my brush back to this number 16 that I was using originally. I did the green. Double loading it again. I can use the same runway because I'm using the same colors. This time I'm going to pick up a little bit of white on one of the corners. Okay? So, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to be adding comma strokes around flowers. Picking up a little white on the corner and just going in and adding these comma strokes, working my way into the middle, going in different directions, counterclockwise, clockwise, backwards. You don't have to stay right in the circle. Not perfect. Okay, I'm going to move on to the other one. I'm picking up paint with about every third or fourth stroke. Double load, and then a little white. And the beauty of this is that we have all three colors on our brush at one time. Why we like the one stroke technique, because you're blending, shading, and highlighting all in one stroke. I could go in here and build this, and if I wanted to, do all the magenta, then come in and add some of the pink melon, then come in and add some of the white. But this way, I'm building my flower with all three colors all at once. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to perfectly stay in your circle. You start to get a little bit of too much paint buildup on your brush, just wipe it off. There's no reason to put it in water and pick up water. You just want to wipe it off between some paper towels. There we go. So that is the beginning of my flowers. Or actually, I would say the middle of my flowers. I'm going to wait for those to dry a little bit. And then, sorry, let me turn off my phone. I'm going to wait for those to dry a little bit, and I'm going to come in and add some centers. But while that is drying, I'm going to move on to some greenery in the background, some leaves. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted today because I'm trying to, it's not my design, so I'm following along. So I don't want to mess it up and forget something or leave something out. So that's why I keep looking over here to follow around on my design. So now I'm going to add some background leaves. So how's everybody doing tonight? I know I need the light green. Was cold one today, but I'll take the cold as long as we don't get any snow. Don't really feel like dealing with snow. So now I'm picking up some light green and some dark green. This is citrus green. I'm double loading my little runway here. Shouldn't really be more than like an inch and a quarter long. Okay. And we're going to go in. I'm going to add some leaves here for the background. So when I do my leaves, I have these two little marks so I know which way it's going to face and where I'm going to start and end. And I'm putting in these wiggle leaves. And you guys know I'm always, always, always turning my design. There's one leaf. I'm always turning my design. I feel like I have better control over my brush and my strokes if I can turn my design the way I need to. Down here. Always want to pull your stem from your leaf. Paint on there. So get my brush nice. You want to have a nice, see that? A nice, flat, pointed chisel edge on your brush when you're doing these leaves. That's what helps you get the points at the end. Well, that one wasn't so good. I'm going to fix that one. That's what helps you take your brush right to that point like that. Now we're just adding all different kinds of leaves that we want here in the background, like fillers. Like paint flower arrangements have fillers. That's exactly what we're doing here. We're adding in all our filler leaves to our arrangement. You want some in the background, and then obviously you're going to want some in the front. And they could be all different leaves. I'm adding in here some little one-stroke leaves by pushing, 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 like that. Okay? I don't want to get crazy with it, so that I think that's all we're doing. Now we're going to let our leaves dry a little bit, and we're still letting the centers of our flowers dry. So does anybody have, let me see, any questions so far? Anything going on? So now I'm going to move on to my bottle. We're going to let up here dry a little bit, and we're going to move back down here to our bottle. And we're just going to add like some shading and our highlighting to our bottle with a little bit of the aqua paint. So I'm using this floating medium. It's the clear gel that is inside your paint. I'm loading that onto my brush, and then I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this aqua on the side of my brush. And we're going to go in and we're going to add some shading with this aqua the inside of our brush. The inside of our bottle. And it doesn't matter if I go over the stems, because the part that's going over the stems is the clear floating medium. More floating medium. I'm going to pick up some aqua. I'm going to turn my project around. I'm going to go do this side. So I'm able to glide my brush because I have the floating medium in my entire brush, but only the one edge, the one corner, has the aqua color paint. And I'm just going to go around here a little bit just to set the leaf back so you can see that the leaf is over the glass jar. I'm going to pick up a bit more of this and a little bit of, and now I'm just gently, almost dry brushing some glare with the aqua. This is why we definitely had to wait for our stems, and I did the background and the glass and the stems first on Tuesday, because that had to be really dry in order to go in here and put this shading onto the bottle. Okie dokie. Alrighty, now we're going to put a little bit, and these are one of my favorite flowers to do. I'm going to use, here's my that I've been using. Hydrangeas. I love hydrangeas. I paint them on my tins. I paint them on wine glasses. They're beautiful. And you can do them in all different colors because hydrangeas are all different. So I'm going to add, I'm going to put a circle up in here because once again we want a background for our hydrangea. And I'm going to put one, a little one, down here. This does two things. It gives you a nice background when you start adding your hydrangea petals, and it outlines the size that you're going to make your flower be in there. And then over here, it's fine. We want to go over the leaves. That's why we put the leaves in first, so the leaves would be tucked to the back, And then we have our hydrangea up here in the front. One of the hardest parts when I first started painting for me was layering, I guess designing, and knowing that obviously you have to stack things on top of one another. That's how you get a beautiful arrangement. I always was having my elements all separate and stuff. Like I could paint my elements, but putting them together was so hard for me because I'm like, oh, paint's gonna mix, and so that was like a mental thing that I had to get past. I can use a flat brush for this, a number 12, but I'm gonna use a filbert. I like to use a filbert when I do my hydrangeas, if I can find one. You guys know how many brushes I have over here, right? Here it is. Voila. So I'm using this number 6 filbert. Okay. So, what do you guys think so far? Any questions? I keep checking back. So we have done. I'm still waiting for the inside of my flowers to dry because I'm going to add a little bit more petals in there, some smaller petals and the insides. But now I'm going in and I'm picking up this cobalt and white. And I'm double loading the cobalt and the white. And you double load a filbert, same way you double load flat brush. And a filbert is one of these brushes that it's round on the end. Oh, look how dirty my hand. I was staining before. So it's round on the end as opposed to flat like this one. And hydrangeas are just a bunch of layered petals. It's almost like you're building tiny little flowers on top of each other. And you just keep building and building and building. When you use the filbert brush, I don't know if you can see, it's a flat with a little turn for the tail. And some petals you can make darker, some petals you can make lighter, and you're just layering them and building 3 or 4 petals at a time. So it's almost like you're adding, and if you look at a hydrangea, it really is. It's a bunch of groups of petals. And so that's what you want to do on your artwork. And it's just a matter of laying down the filbert brush and giving it a little twist to a point. I'm spreading these out so you can see what they look like. Obviously, when I do them here, you're putting them all together because you want your flower petals to be tight. And so I'm just going in and I'm layering them on top of each other, and I'm giving a little twist as I do that. And they all go and meet in the middle. I'm going to add centers to those later, so you guys know I always say, don't judge your painting until the very end when you've added in all the little details. That's when your design comes together. I have even said a painting will go through an ugly stage before it gets to the good stage. So you have to be patient, trust the steps, and you'll get there. And that's it. So, like I said, you can use the flat brush for this, but I'm just using this little filbert brush, and I'm just going in and I'm building on what I laid down to begin with. So some are really, really dark blue, some are much more white. Some are very white. If you don't like one, go over it the next time when you pick up more paint. And again, if you're getting too much paint accumulated on your brush, take it and wipe it off. Go back in, double load it up, and get started again. You don't need to rinse it off in water. I do that when my lines, the edges of my petals are not crisp, and when my paint is starting to get a little too muddy and you're not seeing the different colors. So there I have my hot drinks. What do you guys think? So, I'm gonna wash that out a little bit. Okay. Oh, what we got so far? Our glass vase, our arrangement up top. I'm gonna get out a little scruffy. I'm gonna pick up some of my white. And I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna pounce in a little bit of this white. It almost looks like it gives the illusion of baby's breath. Don't really need any stems. Just pouncing it in here, building on our design. I'm trying not to pick up paint that's already been wet. And you want it so you can like see through it, that it's light and airy. Right? And down. Under there a little bit. What do you guys think so far? So cute, right? I'm gonna use my number 12 now, my smaller thin brush. I think my flowers are a little bit dry. And I'm going to double load this 12 because these petals I want a little bit more defined in the center of my flowers. I'm going to do them on the chisel edge, almost to make a definite area of where my flower bud is going to go. And depending on where in your flower you put it, that kind of tells you which direction your flower is facing in. And this time I'm doing it on the chisel edge, and I want these colors to really stand out. Need some yellow. I'll use this lemon custard. And with the back of my liner brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit of the lemon custard, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to add little buds to my hydrangeas. Not a lot, a few, defining where our flowers are. Like the way how this yellow really pops with against the blue for my hydrangea petals. And I'm putting them, I don't know if you can tell, I can tell, in the areas where my petals met. Remember I told you we were building on our little flowers? We were making like little groups of like 3 and 4 petals. I'm putting these little buds everywhere where that was happening. And I'm going to use a liner brush now, and I'm going to pick up the yellow again. I'm just going to go in and I'm going to tap very centers my buds with this yellow. Right where I added those extra very distinct petals. Add some yellow. Wipe this off. I'm also going to pick up some white. I'm going to go in and put some white in here too. And now I'm going to pick up some green, get a little bit of water on my brush, pick up the dark green. I'm going to add just some little curlicues coming out, more filler for our design. Want your paint to be a little bit loose. Like I said, I have some water in it this time. And you're just going in and a little bit of these in here to give a little bit more detail to your painting. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some little, narrow, long leaves too in there. Loading. Some greens. I'm going to put in some long bladed leaves. Here. It's okay. They go off the page. Fine. There we go. I don't know. I can maybe do that. I'm going to try it. I'm going to write on here. So I'm going to get out my liner brush. I'm going to do it with chalk first. There's a piece of chalk. Sometimes I will trace, but I think I can draw this on here my own self. We'll trace the letters. But I think if I use chalk and outline where and how I want my letters to go, I'll be able to do it. Like I said, once the paint dries, you could just come in with a paper towel and wipe off all the chalk lines. When you're lettering with a brush, which is something, I mean, I'm doing it and I'm being very brave, and if it's a fail, it's a fail. Because I'm not good at lettering, especially with the brush. You always want to meet. You're not doing your lettering in one movement. You're always constantly lifting the brush. Okay. Wouldn't do the H or the A in one stroke. You would pick up. Okay. I'm going to wait for that to dry. After that dries, I'm going to go back and highlight it with some white. So there you have it. There's my arrangement for tonight. It's got some fairly easy roses, some baby's breath, and some hydrangeas in a glass jar. What do you guys think? Oh, that came pretty. I like it. What do you guys think? So, that's it. We are done for tonight. Next week, like I said, if you want to paint the snowman with me, there's a tracer. I'm doing it on a 9x12. You can do it on an 8x10. You can do it on a 12x12. There's 2 tracers in the Teresa Silhouette spot for free art and a stylist. But I always said, if you guys want to use what you have, you want his hat to be purple, use purple, whatever you want to do. Make it your own. I will suggest keep with the orange carrot nose, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, so this is next Thursday at 7:30. It'll probably be an hour and a half, start to finish. If you want to trace it ahead of time, you can. If not, we can trace it together. And that's what we're doing. And thanks, you guys. I'll hold this up again. Here's my flower arrangement on the faux wood background. Okay. Thank you guys. Stay safe and sane, and I will talk to you guys soon.